Hello there. Streets across Europe are filling with racist, far-right men and women who are unhappy with their children getting stabbed. I wonder why European men and women have all of a sudden become so racist and intolerant of one section of society. You would swear that the values of these newcomers was incompatible with Western values, or that the newcomers have no intention of integrating with Western society. But in a multicultural society, none of that matters, of course. How bigoted of these Europeans! They all need to go and spend a week at the Gary Lineker re-education facility, currently being sponsored by Doctor Who. And I know Richard wants to have a chat with you about Doctor Who tomorrow, but I digress. We must follow King Charles and make many more people welcome and stop having a go at them when they come after our offspring. Be in no doubt, if you have concerns over where society is going now that our borders are wide open and will stay that way, then you are the target the authorities will go after. And every incident, whatever the cause, will be used as an excuse to go after your rights and destroy your heritage. A terrorist attack on the natural population will be used as an excuse to crack down on the far right in order to protect those in the mostly peaceful demographic. And any action by those deemed to be far right will be used to shut them down anyway. You will, by order, be woke and welcoming, even if through privately gritted teeth. We've just seen that there has been a reaction in France to the killing at a dance on November the 19th in Crépole of a young lad, only known as Thomas, and the wounding of other people. And the story is that a group of outsiders turned up saying they were there to stab white people. But the reaction from the local people was to go and engage in violent protests, says the police. And those protesters have, of course, been instantly branded as far right. Wonder what they'll call those who did the stabbings? Victims, maybe? Because that's how they want them portrayed, as victims of white privilege. For example, Yahoo News reported, galvanised by the killing of a teenager and partly inspired by riots in Ireland, French ultra-right groups are looking to win more support and cause anxiety for President Emmanuel Macron's government. Cause anxiety for Macron's government? That rabble needs putting out of its misery. While the French government spokesman, Olivier Véran, said the protesters were driven by hatred and resentment. And the French Interior Minister, Gérald Darmanin, waded in by saying that he'll push to get 3 right-wing extremist groups banned, and said, there is a mobilisation within the extreme right that would have us tip into civil war. Well, if France is that close to tipping into civil war, then the current government has no one to blame but itself. It's obviously not listening to the people who elect it into power. And the government especially wants to ban one such group called the Martel Division, seemingly named after the 8th century Frankish leader who united France and played a central role in turning back an Islamic occupation of Europe in the Battle of Tours. So just like in Ireland, where attacking kids with knives is considered a massive step too far. And in France, there are growing fears about how unsafe their society is becoming. Now the French authorities are calling for calm and cracking down on anyone who might take the law into their own hands, saying that it is the job of the state to mete out justice. The trouble, though, is that people maybe don't want to have to see the state mete out more and more justice for more and more events. They might just want a more cohesive and safer society where such justice does not need to be meted out. Has anyone considered that as a solution? Or is it always, take what we force on you, and the only time you'll see a copper now is when you kick off about it, because we don't nab people for shoplifting or burglary anymore? Now, we keep hearing about the police not turning up for shoplifting because not enough was stolen in monetary terms. I reckon if Tommy forgot to pay for a Mars bar and the police got wind of it, he'd be lifted for definite. Now, there has been another riot recently, last weekend, in a little place in Scotland called Auchinleck, about 35 miles south of Glasgow, and the riot spilt over into Cumnock. It resulted in a couple of burnt-out houses and an injured police officer and scared residents. And it doesn't look like it's a minor affair, does it? Look at that lot. But no one seems to have a clue as to what actually sparked these connected events off. Well, not officially anyway. Although there is a lot of chatter on social media that the police had continually failed to deal with a County Lines drug outfit from Bradford, for some or other reason. So the local populace decided to do it for themselves. But the authorities here, just as in France and Ireland, do not like people going out on a do-it-yourself errand. No, they're expected to stay quiet and leave it to the professionals to ignore it. And the police can't have been too busy in London arresting someone for just being there, because there were hordes of them descending on Auchinleck and the surrounding area. And the first response from the police was to plead for more money from the SNP government, saying that without it, services will be further eroded. And David Kennedy, the General Secretary of the Scottish Police Federation, said that if we had community police officers and more police officers in these areas, then the intelligence would be there to perhaps stop incidents like this happening. So if those County Line rumours are true, he wants the local population watched so they don't get in their way? And the Scottish Tories are no better. Their Deputy Justice spokesperson Sharon Dowie, MSP, said, "Rank-and-file police officers have made it clear that the SNP's savage and continued cuts are at the heart of disgraceful scenes we saw in Auchinleck over the weekend. We can't have the people defending themselves when the state refuses to do so, can we?" Now, I don't know if the County Lines rumours are true or not, but it does seem very strange that many in a community of just 3,600 seem to have kicked off all at once in this manner. But from the way this is being reported, the truth will obviously never come out. And reports do indicate that officers responded to a crowd gathering that refused to disperse as it moved from one address to another and became extremely hostile towards the police. Must be a case of St. Vitus far-right dance, mustn't it? Anyway, that whole story of people just deciding to get arsey, as put out by the police and press, looks very, very suspect. Especially as no one among them seems to regard it as anything other than a spontaneous display of hate across the area. But hate of what exactly? Hate of being ignored when they are worried about the safety of their community? There's a recurring theme here, but I just can't quite put my finger on it.